Hi everyone, this is Kanis from Studio Karah. I imagine, I create, and I hope to inspire you along the way. In this video, I am starting in a brand new journal, since my previous journal is out of pages with my May setup, which was the last month that fit inside. I will be setting up this journal a bit different than my previous one because I like the idea of a fresh start. So before I set up for the month of June, which will have a video of its own, I will be setting up for the year 2021 again in a new blank notebook. Both notebooks are the same, aside from the cover color. The cover is engraved with roses and the pages inside are the off-white yellowish tone. Before we get started, I have a complete flip through of the journal that is now full. I'm really happy with how the setups turned out in this one, and I can clearly see an improvement in the spreads as I experiment with something new every month. You can see that I started with just black and white spreads only to evolve into more colorful ones. If you have any questions for any of the spreads, leave a comment below, I would be happy to answer. And also keep an eye out at the info icon and the description for the references to the videos for every setup. I think one of my favorites are the April setup and as well as the May setup. Both are completely the opposite, but I love how they turned out. Free printables for all the setups are available on my website. Check out the description for that, and if you're interested in blank printables, you can also go check out my Etsy shop. All the links are provided below. For the first page in this journal is a name page with one of my ink creation illustrations holding the name of my brand in the middle. I used the Sakura Pigma Micron fine liners with different nibs for this whole setup. For those of you who didn't know, Karah is just a combination of the first letters of my first and last name, which is Kanis Rahman. I will have my name written down underneath the illustration as well. Some assume my name is Karah and refer to me like that, which is completely fine because at the end of the day, it's technically true. Call me whatever you feel comfortable with, whether it be Kanis, Karah, or just simply K. I respond to all of them. Moving on to the next page, this will be my keys page. I didn't have one in my previous journal in which you saw I used a tip-in tab so I could easily flip it out whenever I needed it. But honestly, I don't even look at it anymore, so I just thought for this one I would create a page for it because all the keys summed up is always nice to have. I used my embosser to press out the letters for keys and put it at the top and decorating it just like my name on the previous page. Almost all of the supplies I use are listed in the description if you're interested in checking them out. I used a little stencil that I made myself out of cardboard to use for drawing out some lines or circles. This one especially comes in handy when I draw my ink creations. For the right side of this spread, I have a little Dutch door page that provides a peek into the calendar overview of the year. On the page, I used brown craft paper to draw on top with white gel pen. I used my X-Acto knife and my scissors to cut out the Dutch door page. The circle in the middle is sort of a lily pad or a ginkgo leaf surrounded by smaller versions of that. I used my stencil again for some of the circles that I drew on the page. For the calendar overview spread, I tried to keep it as minimal as possible, only adding the week numbers on the left side of every tiny calendar, as well as a ginkgo leaf on the left to reflect the one on the other side. Later on, I added some brown craft paper to the tops of the calendars to write out the days of the week. This spread always takes the longest, but in the end it's all worth it because it's amazing to look at. On the right side, I use my washi tape to make a border that extends to the next page. On the next page, I have the future log with all of the months of the year to add events and important dates. It was quite a struggle figuring out what I wanted to do with the washi tape on this page because it's always different in your head than when you put it on the page. But in the end, I was happy with the results. On the right side, I have a little goals page with two sections, one for my personal goals and one for my small business goals. On top, I added some brown craft paper and drew some petals with my fine liner and wrote down goals at the top. Nothing fancy, but a page that is good to have. For the next spread, I have a few trackers, something that I didn't have in my previous journal because I barely used them. But this time I thought it would be nice to track, for example, my Instagram and YouTube growth and see when I hit a certain milestone. I had a little one for Instagram set up in the previous journal you might have seen, but that's something I put together in a few minutes so I could jot down some dates. This time I'm trying to put more effort into it so I can also enjoy using this tracker. The idea was to fill in the empty squares with the petal type of drawing I did on the previous page and on the bottom of this spread. On the left side of the squares I have the numbers for the hundreds for Instagram, and on top the numbers for the tens. I hope that makes sense. But basically for every 10 followers I get to fill in one square, and I will write down the date in that square as well. For YouTube, since I have already passed the 1000 subscriber milestone, I started with that, and from there it's the same as above. For every 10 new subscribers I get to fill in one square. The goal is to reach maybe 50 per month. Let's see how that goes. Next milestone is 2K. Subscribe if you haven't already to help me reach 2000 soon. Thank you for your support, it really motivates me to create more. On the right side I made a tracker for my ink creation illustrations. I want to create more of these this year, so I thought it would be nice to track how much I draw in a week. For that I set up trackers for each following month. On the left is the amount of drawings, and on top is the week number so I can see how many I did that week. I wanted to make a legend for the type of drawings I made, since I draw with different materials and colors, so I decided to use my Tombow brush pens to indicate that. And surprise, I'm using the other side of the pens for once. Who would have thought that? For the Instagram and YouTube trackers, it doesn't really make sense to have a legend, because how would I differentiate followers and subscribers, right? So I just use the colors for those trackers to, frankly said, to make them pretty and colorful. The petals are pointing to random directions. But I guess if you like this idea, you could use this method to track your moods and such, differentiating between colors and directions according to your mood. For the ink creation trackers, I had the idea to make the legend as the colors of the paper and ink I used, so that's what I did there, and decided to simply use my fine liner to draw the petals in the direction of that legend, using the 4 different corners to start drawing the petals to indicate which type of drawing I made. I hope this all makes sense to you, because it does in my head, and I thought it was kind of genius when I first thought about it. Now it just actually seems pretty straightforward. So yeah. Oh well, I'm satisfied with this all, so it's a success for me. If you want to see some of my ink creations, I will leave a playlist in the info icon and a link in the description. Check it out and let me know what you think of them. For the next spread, I have an inspirations and ideas spread. For this one, I wanted to go back to the style I had in my May setup, which is a little vintage collage type of layout. I even used a stamp and a wax seal on this one and finished it off with some washi tape. I just recently got a collection of vintage washi tape, and you will see a swatch spread before I choose which ones to use. There are so many options. Which one is your favorite? Leave a comment and let me know. I love how the little droplets of wax look spread out on the whole page. We quickly move on to the next page, which is my bullet journal themes and YouTube videos ideas page. I kept it fairly simple so I would have enough space to write down things. Just used a little bit of washi tape on top for the title and moved on to the next page. This page is meant for doodle ideas, in which I will draw out different kinds of patterns to use later in my ink creations. For now, this will remain incomplete, and whenever I think of a new pattern, I will come back and add it to this page. And lastly, you might have noticed that at the top of some pages I had written down tags with pencil because I wanted to use my embosser to create tabs for this journal. I won't be making tabs for all the pages, but mostly the ones I want to go back to at a later time. I will do the same for every month so I can easily flip to that page. After doing this, the second setup for this year is finally finished. Let me know what you think and check out the first setup as well. And like last time, I will have free printables for this setup available on my website, and possibly a blank version of it will be available in my Etsy shop. I haven't decided yet. Check out the shop to see if I actually did. I will leave all the links in the description below. Before you go, take a look at the complete flip through with a little sneak peek at June. I used my stencil as a bookmark on the last page. Also, excuse the change of lighting. I had this filmed in 2 sittings. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a like on this video or a comment with your thoughts. It really helps out the channel. If you're not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, please join the family by subscribing and click the bell button if you want to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and until next time, keep imagining, keep creating, and stay inspired. Bye darlings!